We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sparta episode of the F and Marks podcast.
I'm Jay.
And I am the Brainless One. And, Jay, we got quite a bit to get into. Not only is it our 300th episode tonight, but we have a premium live event tomorrow, which has so many ramifications in regards to WrestleMania. We find out who Bianca Belair's number one contender is going to be. We're going to find out whether or not Theory walks into WrestleMania as United States champion. If that's the case, does he defend the title against Cena? And if he doesn't, I think that definitely clears the path for Cena to get involved with that. Obviously, what happens with Brock, I mean, honestly, I really don't care what happens between Brock and Bobby Lashley tomorrow. I know they're going to beat the shit out of each other, and it's going to eventually lead to them wrestling at WrestleMania. I'm just going to enjoy that match. So I'm not even going to try to divulge and do any of that stuff with that. I'm just excited for that match.
Yeah.
We're going to, hide your wives. Adam Edge is teaming up with his wife to go up against Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. Kind of just I don't know if this is the culmination of the storyline of Edge with the spooky pals, or do we... Yes. Or does it lead to Finn Balor as the demon going up against Edge at WrestleMania? We're probably going to find out about that tomorrow. And then, obviously, the elephant in the room. Do we see Sami Zayn walk out of his hometown? Or does Roman Reigns continue on this incredible 900-plus day reign as champion?
Right.
When was the last time you were this excited for Elimination Chamber?
It's definitely been a few years because, definitely within the past several years, that they the Elimination Chamber match where you had people who clearly had lost, secondary titles, lost secondary title matches,
yep,
and ended up somehow in the Elimination Chamber match for the main championship. But things like that, soured me. Like, I loved Elimination Chamber up until probably about 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
I loved the idea of having this kind of cylindrical type cage thing where there are a lot of interesting things that could happen. I'm glad that they made some safety improvements for the performers, because getting slammed on the damn grates looked like it sucked beyond belief. So,
it's funny you say that about getting slammed into a grate, because it was basically a comment like that got me sent back into jail on Instagram. I have now been put in jail on all three major platforms: Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All within a matter of basically 2 weeks of each other.
You should wear that with a badge of honor.
And I was even more. You thought I was pissed about the whole Nia Jax thing, and I got put in Facebook jail for that. I got put in Facebook jail because the topic was, tell me a topic that you're tired of discussing. And I said, I'm tired of people saying wrestling isn't real. I hate these people who say, wrestling is fake, while they're wearing either a Harry Potter shirt or an Avengers shirt. I got Captain America on my shirt. And all I said was, yeah, and shit, man. And all I said was, let me hit you in the head with a steel chair, and you tell me if it's fake or not.
Right. You didn't.
And I got put in jail for that.
There was no threat there.
You know how many times I've said that on Twitter? I've lost count. I was like, oh my God. Somebody definitely reported me, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't fun. Yes. Go Giants. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah.
I know you appreciated the text earlier today. Giants are playing chess here, while the Eagles are playing checkers.
The NFL is playing checkers. The Philadelphia Eagles are trying to play chess, and the Giants are playing Risk. That's how I look at it.
Good times. Good times.
But I say, we're going to get into the Elimination Chamber. We'll get into that when we get to our predictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, the table spot probably would have been better for me. Although I probably would have gotten in trouble because somebody would have been upset about that too. But yeah. So unfortunately, we have to start off on a somber note, as we found out earlier this week of the passing of the legendary promoter Jerry Jarrett. Jerry Jarrett happens to be the father of Jeff Jarrett. He was the owner of Memphis Wrestling. Was that the name of the promotion? It just
and I think he owned, I think, Continental Championship Wrestling. I think it was CUSA.
Yeah.
And there were, and he also
What's up, Mike?
Owner at the beginning of TNA with Jeff Jarrett and getting that off the ground. And you know, when Vince was on the steroids trial in the mid-90s, they had actually set up a succession plan so that if Vince went to jail, Jerry Jarrett was going to be the person that was going to run the company while Vince is doing time. So, I mean, clearly highly thought of by Vince. I mean, I know Vince knows he believes he's irreplaceable, which we found out, guess what? You are. You old piece of crap.
Yeah.
But Jerry Jarrett was going to be the one that was going to run WWE if Vince went to prison for that. So Jerry Jarrett did a good job booking and like having a thriving territory for a long time. And, you know, I know stuff with him and his son has always been very hot and cold.
Right.
But, you know, it definitely, seeing the tales from the territories, you could tell that, like, you know, that they had a good relationship in the last years of Jerry Jarrett's life. And it sucks. It sounds like he had esophagus cancer, and cancer just sucks. And, you know, it wasn't like he was a young man, but, you know, you always want to have a few more years, and it just sucks. You know, another big name in the wrestling industry gone.
Yeah. And I'll say this, one of the things I did enjoy about the Tales from the Territory was now I have a greater appreciation for Jerry Jarrett. And I think I understand why Vince might have thought of Jerry Jarrett, because he was the one that helped, like, kind of get the Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler thing off the ground, because nobody else would have done that. Vince Sr. didn't even have, you know, was offered it first, and he shot down the idea. So maybe Vince saw something like, all right, maybe Jerry Jarrett's probably just as crazy as I am to get this to work. And I'll tell you, like, especially after seeing the Dark Side, or not the Tales from the Territory, I have a greater appreciation for the whole Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler thing. Because I remember seeing it when I was a kid. I was like, man, Jerry Lawler's not like when it happened, but like I remember like years ago, I think it was on MTV. They had like some kind of like thing, or VH1, and they covered that story, and they kind of kept it in kayfabe and everything like that. And because it was more of like an Andy Kaufman thing, but like how Jerry Lawler and Jimmy Hart got involved and all that. I have an incredible appreciation for that, because it's incredible. That's WWE now. That's the kind of shit we're seeing. And we don't see Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler inside of a wrestling ring. We do not get Logan Paul wrestling Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia. We don't get Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. We don't get, you know, Stephen Amell at SummerSlam, and I can go on and on. Jerry Jarrett. Why? I mean, his son, Evan Marks Hall of Famer El Jefe, is not even on the show to pander to him.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, Drew Carey. But honestly, it took a lot of guts for Jerry Jarrett to do what he did, and I applaud him. And I agree, it's a terrible loss, especially for somebody who has been so influential in the wrestling industry. And it's sad to see him go. And just on a kind of on a related note, Jeff Jarrett was actually thinking about taking Wednesday off for Dynamite. But Jerry's widow said, you know, your father would have wanted you to wrestle because that's how he would have done it. So Jeff Jarrett wrestled on Wednesday for his father, and the man who has drawn $30 in his life and his career, I have a lot more of an appreciation for you for doing that.
Yeah. But, it's sad that, I mean, it seems like lately it's like every week, every other week that we're discussing something like this. And, it's a bummer. I'm glad it's not as many people that are in their like 30s and 40s
Right.
happening, but c'est la vie. And Jerry Jarrett, thank you for your contributions to the industry, and thoughts and prayers going out to your family, and thank you.
Yeah. And I'm just glad that he was able to be a part of the Tales from the Territories too, because he was my favorite part about that episode. He told a great story. I could have listened to him talk for hours about wrestling, and that's how I feel about a lot of these guys, like the Jim Cornettes of the world. Jimmy Hart. I could sit and listen to Jimmy Hart talk about wrestling for probably days. If Mean Gene was still around, he's another one. But to kind of bring it back to more of a positive note, and then it's kind of a segue. Vince McMahon has announced what he wants for WWE. Since we were just talking about how Jerry Jarrett was going to take over, $9 billion.
Hey, initially after the possible sale was announced, with Vince coming back into power, we had heard, $8 billion, $8.5 billion. We had heard allegedly that the Saudis had offered $12 billion for the company. Right now, the current stock valuation of WWE is around $6.5 billion. So more or less what Vince is trying to do and say is like, hey, you know what? The valuation of this company is going to keep going up. Oh, by the way, we earn record money every year. It's a good investment. We'll see if they end up actually selling, or if this is just a smokescreen for Vince to eventually come back to creative and screw everything that Triple H has been doing up.
Do you think it'd be bad if I wish that both of his ACLs blow out like I did with Nia Jax?
Well, I mean, he tore his quad, so I would say it's not beyond happening.
Yeah, I'm almost to the point where if the $12 billion that they're allegedly getting from the blood money in Saudi Arabia is actually a thing, and he's asking for $9 billion, do you think that's like his? Either I get $9 billion or I sell it to the Saudis for $12 billion. You think that's kind of like what his ploy is? Maybe he's putting that out there. Maybe the $12 billion is just a Cody Rhodes. You're only smoking mirrors. I think in my heart of hearts, I really just don't want to stop watching WWE. And if they sell it to the Saudis, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Our podcast will be dramatically different because I will not talk about it.
Ooh, but on a separate note, this could change everything, because there was talk that the big, like, everybody knows Jay White. I'm sorry, I'm kind of, but I was going to talk about this anyway, and it just came to my mind. Sorry. So there's been talk about how Jay White is potentially going to be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. He just had a match over the last weekend, against Hikalua in a loser leaves Japan match. He's fighting Eddie Kingston either tonight or tomorrow, and the loser never wrestles for New Japan ever again. So there's been a lot of speculation that Jay White is very much on WWE's radar. Well, Dave Meltzer came out and said, yes, as much as it is they have interest in Jay White, allegedly, apparently, there's a bigger free agent fish that they want to reel in. So a lot of people were thinking, oh, it's Kota Ibushi. What? Kota Ibushi? I mean, yes, he was nice in the Cruiserweight Classic thing. No, you're in my shit house with the other ass clown who likes to do the same stupid shit where you wrestle a sex doll. Not happening. I'd rather have Jay White. Well, as I was opening up the app after I took it off the phone, Jay, to write up the description for tonight's episode, I just happened to see a rumor of who the bigger free agent name is. Would y'all like to know what the name of the potential free agent that WWE...
Brown Snow in the chat today for this.
Apparently, allegedly, I don't know what you want to call it. I want to call it indigestion. Kenny Omega, either his contract has already expired or it's expiring next month. So,
right now, currently, isn't he one of the trio's champions?
Yep. Yeah. And this is the fun part. So they shot Rampage on Wednesday. And on Rampage tonight, after the last time they wrestled and they lost 70,000 viewers in their last time they fought Top Flight and AR Fox, let's give them a rematch for the trios titles. If for whatever reason, I'm telling you right now, if AR Fox and Top Flight actually pulls this shit out of their ass, I'm going to throw up. Jay, we're not even going to have to worry about the Saudi sale being the reason why we don't cover WWE anymore. Because if Twinkle Toes somehow makes it, no. You know what? No. This is what's going to happen. If they bring in Twinkle Toes, I want to be in the locker room when he cross paths with Brock Lesnar. That's all I want. Put it on Peacock. I don't care. Put it on the website. Put it on your YouTube page. I want you to film, no scripts, Kenny Omega and Brock Lesnar crossing paths. Because I would love, because you know Brock's going to say something, and I would love for Kenny to try to say something to Brock Lesnar. Because then Brock Lesnar's going to break Kenny Omega's neck, and then I'm going to have to name the Wrestler of the Year Marquee Award to the Brock Lesnar Wrestler of the Year Marquee Award. But no, I don't want to see Kenny Omega. No, I don't want to see Cody versus Omega at WrestleMania 40. No, I don't want to see Kenny Omega in the main event of WrestleMania. No, he's not better than CM.
Michael Scott wants to see Toby back at HR.
I want to see Kenny Omega in WWE less than Michael Scott wants to see Toby return from Costa Rica. I can't, Jay, no. These people who are defending this man who took seven Canadian destroyers from himself in an 11-minute match with a doll that I'm pretty sure him and Ibushi have done other things than wrestle with. No. That is not a professional wrestler. No. That is a acrobat who should be in Cirque du Soleil, who is pretending to be a professional wrestler, and him and the Young Bucks are in Dave Meltzer's pockets. That's all it is.
Okay.
No. Jay, I almost broke my phone. We almost didn't have episode 300 tonight because I saw it and I almost broke my phone. I was right at the kitchen table. I almost... Ugh.
Speaking of breaking your phone, I mean, I know we posted the reel and the short this week of you talking about one specific personality within professional wrestling that every time you see anything from him that you would like to the phone across the room. He had some extremely brainless things to say this week.
Every time he opens his mouth, he's got something brainless to say. You know who I forgot to mention was the Road Dogg. The Road Dogg should have been on that list last week. I don't know who I would have kicked off, but the Road Dogg really needs to just shut the fuck up, too. I'm just tired of him opening his mouth. Him, Ric Flair, Vince. I don't even know why anybody even talks to Vince Russo. Why would anybody give him the opportunity? Why give him the spotlight? Why give him 15 seconds of fame? What has he done in professional wrestling that has deserved to be a guy that wrestling pages turn to. If you
Bro,
haven't had a chance to go and watch Cornette, there was a clip of Cornette talking about Vince Russo booking Shotgun Saturday Night. If you haven't seen it, go onto YouTube. All you have to do is type in Cornette and Russo, and there's a bajillion things that you can watch because that I don't know why they haven't wrestled. They should wrestle WrestleMania. Let's make that happen. Let's make Cornette versus Russo happen at WrestleMania 40 next year in Philadelphia while we're sitting there eating cheesesteaks while Cornette's bashing his skull in with a tennis racket. With Brian Last in his corner.
we could have a Booker on the pole match. Yeah!
Yeah? It hasn't done jack shit.
Not hearing anything about Vince Russo is because he has the podcast and he says stuff that is actually ridiculous beyond belief. As much as Ric Flair comes out and says a lot of stupid things on his podcast just to get views, like specifically this week for Ric Flair, he actually said something I agree with. He actually said he doesn't want to see a WrestleMania triple threat match. I actually agree with him. I would rather see it be a one-on-one match instead of a triple threat.
Oh, you don't.
Vince Russo goes out there this week and says that Rhea Ripley, who is getting over and is white hot right now, needs to basically turn herself back into a Barbie doll that she started out as, instead of being something unique, which she is now and which she created.
Bro.
And bro, turn it into a shit gimmick. So instead of getting fucking over, she's going to become like everybody else. Just like when Dolph Ziggler turned into Ted DiBiase Jr. for a couple weeks and was like, oh shit, maybe I need to not do this.
Yep. And he said he's tired of the fans singing along to Seth Rollins. That's because Seth Rollins knows what to do to get himself over. What did you do to get yourself over? Oh, that's right. You put the World Heavyweight Championship on David Arquette. Vince Russo, you are the dumbest motherfucker that has ever graced any wrestling, anything. You are the worst entity from professional wrestling ever. You are unanimously hated from the entire internet wrestling community.
Bro.
You're the only person who can bring Dave Meltzer and Jim Cornette together.
Yeah.
I'm just tired. Why do people even? Who even listens to his podcast other than his mother?
Apparently, enough wrestling people who whether they blog about it or whether they write stuff about professional wrestling, they write it enough where, I mean, as you put it in the reel and the short, that whenever you see
Pritchard,
you know exactly who the hell it is. Says wrestling legend, which, I mean, is just an insult to wrestling legends. I would put Coco Beware in the wrestling legend category over Vince Russo. That's how much I think he is, like, he did stuff in the wrestling industry. No freaking doubt. He did.
Oh yeah, I mean he almost killed a whole bunch of dudes with the tough enough, or not the tough enough, the the boxing thing. Oh,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then had Butterbean knock out Bart Gunn in like 12 seconds.
Right. Right. I love you. Tim talking to Pritchard. Brother Love.
Bruce Pritchard, please.
You know, I don't mind Brother Love as much. Like, Brother Love doesn't come out there and make a dick out of himself every week like Vince Russo does. Rhea Ripley is getting over specifically because she is dressing how she is and doing what she's doing. One thing it wasn't the greatest acting, it was actually pretty terrible, but I enjoyed the hell out of it, was her and Dom on Valentine's Day ruining Rey Mysterio and his wife's Valentine's Day dinner.
Oh, it was...
My favorite line in the whole thing was after Dom Mysterio specifically says, give us the best champagne, and then he says, I need chicken nuggets, and what the hell was it? He said something along the lines of like, yeah, give me your best chicken nuggets out there, and oh, by the way, I need ranch dressing. Don't give me like barbecue sauce. And I was like, you know what? Not the best delivered. I respect the fact that for chicken nuggets, Dom Mysterio asked for ranch dressing. And asking for chicken nuggets at that restaurant.
I love this has become a bit. I love the fact that it started on Thanksgiving. It's moved on to Christmas. The fact that they did it on Valentine's Day is just exceptional. I hope they do something for like St. Patty's Day. I don't think they will. It would be great if they did. And unfortunately, and unless this continues on after WrestleMania, I don't think they're going to make it to like Easter. But one of these times at the Mysterio residence, when Dom shows up, we need a Juventud Guerrero appearance. I'm not asking for much. Either Juventud or Psychosis.
I love that they were in a very upscale restaurant and Ray was still wearing the mask. It's almost as good as the Jinder having his wrestling tights on the golf course.
I'm going to say this right now, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart when I say it. Rey Mysterio lives the gimmick better than I do. And I truly, truly believe that. Because, yes, I am also brainless when I leave the house. I mean, who am I kidding? But he still does it better because I would never wear a mask everywhere.
Mysterio goes to sleep in the mask, wakes up with the mask on, probably doesn't even wash the mask. I wonder what it smells like.
Oh, my goodness.
The worst.
No, that's not true. Rey Mysterio probably has like a nighttime mask, so he takes off his day mask and he has a nighttime mask and it has like moons or a pillow or some shit on it. And it's like his sleepy time mask and it's got the little hat on it.
And he probably put some like high-end cologne inside of it so he never, stinks up the joint. I wonder, did Chris Jericho do that? When he put on the Mysterio mask, did he put on some nice cologne when he put on the mask and sat in the crowd? Kind of similar.
It's possible.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah. You know what, Chris? I'm going to say this. It can't be any worse than just looking at his face.
I just want to put my fist in your suck hole.
Yeah. I will say this. I've come a long way on Dom. I thought he was drizzle shits. His character development, he's developing a character. He's getting a reaction from the crowd. It's not like I'm booing you because we just don't like you. I'm booing you because you're a fucking prick. And you're acting like a dick. His wrestling ability is average at best. But my God, he has to work on those mic skills. Oh my God, he is horrible.
I mean, quite honestly, he lines up with his stepmother, Vicky Guerrero, where she might not have been the best actress.
Right.
But she got a damn reaction. And Dom is starting to get a reaction by being douche Dom.
Yeah. The funny thing, it's going to be reverse Kane. He's going to come out with the mask for the first time, and people are going to cheer, and he's going to be like, oh, my God, they think I'm a face. No, it's because we can't see your face. Hooray!
You put on the mask, you can't see the face. I have to point out Travis Kelce during the Super Bowl last week did the "You Can't See Me." I always enjoy when in professional, sports, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, whatever it is, when they show the respect for professional wrestling.
Right. I do too. And I love the fact that Mahomes had the title over his shoulder after the Super Bowl. And honestly, that's part of the reason why I like Kittle, the George Kittle, the tight end for the 49ers. Huge wrestling fan. I would love to. And Kelce and Kittle as a tag team would be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, hell, the Kelce brothers as a tag team would be a lot of fun to watch.
Right. Yeah.
But since we are on the topic of the Eagles and, they lost last week, Madcap Moss was seen with a picture wearing his Eagles jersey. Oh, at least we made it to the Super Bowl. Well, Moss, that loss to the Chiefs is going to be the second biggest loss you're going to suffer in about a week. Because after you came out to a mild reaction from the crowd last week, you somehow, some way won the number one contendership for the Intercontinental title against Gunther. So tonight will be the biggest loss of this week for you, bud.
I understand booking standpoint wise, you want Madcap Moss in there because he's Madcap Moss. If he loses to Gunther, whatever. But it doesn't do anything to strengthen Gunther. All it does is put Madcap Moss in a match. It is literally a stopgap.
Yes. Ooh. He's a statistic. He's just another, as they would say, another notch in the bed frame.
Yeah.
He's gonna. I watched the match last week. Karrion Kross came out, and of course, Scarlett got the best reaction of anybody. Ray was Ray, so Ray was going to get a reaction regardless of whatever happened. It's Ray Mysterio. He's only gotten booed once in his entire life.
Royal Rumble 2014.
Yeah, but that's it. And then, shit, who was the other guy that was in the match? Who am I brain farting on? Because it was Rey Mysterio.
Whatever.
Right. Oh, shit. What the hell was it? It was Karrion Kross. It was Madcap Moss. It was Rey Mysterio. And for the life of me, I can't remember whoever it was. It must not have been that important because they didn't win anyway. Karrion Kross. Can we talk about this real quick before I shit all over Madcap Moss for a second? Karrion Kross was the big addition of the Triple H returning stars. He was the first one on SmackDown. He attacked Drew McIntyre. He put the timer on the ring, on the apron, or Scarlett did the timer thing on the apron and started the timer. And then he loses in the Intercontinental elimination or the Intercontinental number one contenders match last week to Madcap Moss.
Chris Brown talking about how Karrion Kross is kind of ticked about his position in the company. Triple H isn't ever going to get it 100% right. And Vince didn't see anything in Kross, and that's why he turned him into Super Shredder, 2022. And didn't think that Karrion Kross could be a draw in the company and stripped him away of anything and everything that made him unique in NXT. Now, Triple H brought him back and allowed him to more or less be what he was in NXT, brought Scarlett back, brought the entrance back, and there have definitely been some booking F-ups.
Right.
Clash at the Castle, I mean, you bring a guy all the way across the pond to flip water on a guy.
They got more out of Tyson Fury than they did out of Karrion Kross.
Triple H, in general, has done a really good job booking the shows, making the stuff make sense for the performers.
Yeah.
And a dude he had high regard for whatever reason, he's also soured on.
Yeah.
I don't know if something's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if, like, oh, well, he it doesn't seem like the audience is latching on to him. I don't think they gave him more than like a week or two of being up there. I don't know if Sami Zayn doing way more than they expected has been part of the problem. But Karrion Kross seems to, like, he has many of the tools, similar to another guy who is pissed off at his spot right now, Lance Archer, who, you know, big dude who can go in the ring and has just about everything you could think of in a performer. Tony Khan can't find a spot for him. Triple H can't find a real spot for Karrion Kross. He's going to end up in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that ends up on SmackDown before WrestleMania.
No, because it was on SmackDown 2 years ago, and then last year it was on Raw. Pretty sure it was on Raw. Was it on SmackDown last year?
I don't know.
Oh, no, that was the one that – oh, God. No, we're not talking about last year's Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. COVID killed that. I'm sorry. COVID killed the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And no disrespect to Jey Uso, because he made a lot of sense winning it when he won it a couple years ago. But Madcap Moss ruined the Andre the Giant Memorial. Well, actually, no. It was the two assholes from Saturday Night Live at WrestleMania 35 that ruined that match, and then COVID just killed it. I do agree with Tim. Karrion Kross needs to shave his head. It's the hair that's really – it's not a good look for him. And I would love to see Karrion Kross versus Bray Wyatt. That's from Chris Brown. Said Kross versus Wyatt. How would we feel about that?
Honestly, I would love to see it, but Kross needs to not look like such a, like, nobody.
Right.
And I don't know if they can fix that between now and WrestleMania. I think we're going to get Bray and Uncle Howdy, which, quite honestly, I'm fine with. I know F and Mark's Hall of Famer El Jefe is not fine with it. He calls him Uncle Lousy. But I think Karrion Kross could be better and can showcase better and do more than what he's doing right now. And he's younger than most of the people that are, you know, at the top of the card. So he has time to figure it out. And clearly, like, Triple H has a soft spot for him, but apparently the soft spot is not very big.
Right. Well, my big thing is, because you remember when they first took over and they were releasing people from NXT, and it's like, okay, if you can't get on TV or if you're not progressing, you got to get the fuck out. And they were basically doing the same thing with the people from the main roster. It has been basically 6 months, because Dakota Kai and Io Sky set the whole standards of this at SummerSlam, which was at the end of July. So we'll just carry it over until August. We're at the 6-month mark. Io Sky and Dakota Kai are still the tag team champions. I'm thrilled that they're both there. They would have not been there if Vince was still in charge.
Right.
So I'm taking that as a win for Triple H. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, it's kind of, I mean, it kind of fell flat. There's nothing. When he was feuding, when he started the feud with Rey Mysterio, and he had his match on SmackDown, I listened to Cornette before the episode, and he said, if he loses this match to Rey Mysterio, no, it was Brian Last. Brian Last said that if he loses this match to Rey Mysterio, you could just kiss it goodbye. They have nothing for him. And what happened? Rey Mysterio beat him. And then we get into the Royal Rumble, and he's thrown out in less than 4 minutes. And now he's losing an Intercontinental title #1 contenders matches?
Makes me think that there's something going on behind the scenes that they don't like. I don't know what it is.
He hasn't, if I remember correctly, wasn't he more like ripped and defined when he was in NXT, and now he kind of just looks like he's got a dad bod. I do think it's funny that you mentioned Archer, because do you remember when they were having this, when they were the two big free agents, because it was Killer Cross and Archer and Lance Archer, and they were like, all right, well, they signed Cross to WWE, and AEW got Archer. Archer hasn't done really dick, other than maybe a couple of really good matches. He's better off in Japan. Let's be serious. He was better off working with Minoru Suzuki. His best run came in Japan. Karrion Kross fell flat. He was released. Nobody really knocked down his door to re-sign him. If Tony Khan really wanted him, he would have signed him. He got Keith Lee. He got Malachi Black. Some of these people that have come back, I know that Johnny Gargano is probably the most safe human being on planet Earth right now, because Triple H has a very soft spot in his heart, and he's saving WrestleMania 40 for Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa in a 4 out of 7 falls, anything goes, WWE Undisputed Universal Championship match there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Johnny Gargano is a great worker.
Right.
I love Dexter Lumis. I am so glad that Dexter Lumis is back. And the fact that, and then to top it off, Dexter Lumis fights, speaking of which, Dexter Lumis fought Baron Corbin. Beats Baron Corbin. JBL says, can't polish a turd. Hasta luego, and got the fuck out.
We have very early on in this year the Triple H Golden Shovel Burial of the Year candidate already in Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin went from them bringing in JBL to help him, nurture him into maybe doing something more than what he was doing before JBL showed up, to him getting interrupted during an interview on Monday Night Raw. Oh, by the way, we've got something important going on in the ring. Okay, you are not important. In fairness to Baron Corbin, his run as king, I think, would have been really good, but COVID fucked that up. He would have been such a douche in front of that live crowd, and when he had to be king when nobody was there, and even when it was the Thunderdome, the level of booing and all that stuff was not at the same level that it would have been had the crowd been there, because before that he had a pretty decent run with Roman Reigns and had a pretty good feud going there with the, at the time, the big dog.
Right. Turner.
But how less important does Baron Corbin feel? How, if you were Baron Corbin, would you feel about your position within the company right now?
You're just this is what, okay. What really bothers me the most about this is the man who ended Kurt Angle's WWE career. Because Vince didn't want it to hold out another year and have Cena fight Angle, because Vince didn't want to give, Cena the match at WrestleMania. Should have been Cena that ended Angle's career. It should have been anybody. He ended, they can't do anything with the man who ended Kurt Angle's career. They can't do anything with him. They gave him the King of the Ring. He had the Money in the Bank. They fucked him when they gave him the Money in the Bank, and he lost because there was no coming back from that. Nobody other than Cena has ever really recovered from a failed cash-in. Braun Strowman was just a beneficiary of an extraordinary opportunity for himself. He was just the guy. He was the next one up. But if you look at it, all the guys who have failed have not fared well. Damien Sandow, I mean, I'm not going to speak any ill will towards Damien Sandow. When he was Damien Mizdow for that run was probably the most entertained I've been in WWE television the last 10, 15 years.
I love the Road Scholars.
The Road Scholars were an excellent tag team. When he pushed Cody off the ladder to pull down the briefcase, I freaking lost. I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. I honestly, like, he needs his old theme back. His lone wolf thing. I don't know. You can't polish a turd.
Do you want him to become an Olive Garden waiter again?
Yes. I want him to bring me to my table before he hits the end of days on somebody. Yes. I would like another basket of breadsticks, Baron Corbin. And make it snappy. Oh, man. Oh, that was such good. Speaking of Monday Night Raw, we got a nice segment between Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn. I mean,
for me, really good segment. Definitely not quite on par with the Paul Heyman and Cody segment from the week before, but I appreciated the kind of pep talk that we got from Cody. Last Friday, Sammy also knocked it out of the park with Heyman.
Oh, yes, he did.
Hey, man, like, see what I did there?
Yeah.
I'm the one who showed the cracks in the bloodline. Mm-hmm. I can beat Roman, and he needed that extra pep talk on Monday from Cody to tell him, yeah, dude, when I said I think you could beat Roman, like, I said that. I believe that. And I can't wait. I want to see that, and I want you to finish your story so you and I can face each other at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah. Cody Rhodes has knocked everything out of the park since he returned from his injury at the Royal Rumble. It is just incredible. And I agree with Tim. I think it's a good way for them to kind of not have the fans turn on Cody. Although this is the thing about the Sami Zayn situation right now is that there's somebody else who's just as deserving as Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn basically ascended to this position because they needed somebody to step up as a face when Cody tore his pec. Sami Zayn stepped up. He knocked it out of the park. So now the WWE is in a very interesting predicament because the man who
position.
Yes, because the man who wants $9 billion fucking dollars for a $6.5 billion industry decided last year it was a smart move to put both belts on a part-timer. And people are wondering, well, why doesn't Raw have the ratings that SmackDown? Where's the champion? Roman just kind of shows up whenever he wants. You don't really have tag team champions. Kudos to the Usos for coming over to Raw a lot more often and defending the Raw Tag Team Championships on Raw. Because if you look at it, all you have is the United States Championship, which is held by the mask-faced man, Theory. And no disrespect to Bianca, because there's nobody on Raw that's more deserving than her of being the champion, because she is the face of the women's division, period. But her and Theory can't just do it themselves on a 3-hour show when half of the championships that are supposed to be there are typically not there. Who's going to want to tune in to watch The Miz? I mean, I would, but that's Not too many people are turning in just to watch The Miz. I'm not there to watch Bronson Reed. I really don't care. I mean, Austin Theory's just got a weird face. I can't really look at it for long anyway. But it was a bad move to put both belts on Roman last year, because now how the fuck are you going to get him off of him? Dude's had the titles he's had the Universal Championship for 900 days. So when you were saying that you didn't like the idea of a triple threat, I've actually put on my tinfoil hat for that.
Yeah.
I would be on board with a triple threat, but on one condition. I would only want it to happen if Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes both pin Roman at the same time, kind of reverse of what happened 2 years ago. And then they kind of just stand there, and Cody just kind of takes the WWE Championship, and Sami takes the Universal Championship. Kind of like that. That would be my only thing in regards to a triple threat match.
My preference would be we get some sort of effed finish at Elimination Chamber, which leads Adam Pearce to come out and give Sami Zayn an opportunity on night one of WrestleMania against Roman Reigns. The winner of that match goes against Cody Rhodes in the main event on the second night of WrestleMania. I would lean more towards that than anything. I don't think we're going to get that. I think
I'm going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, it's what my prediction is going to be for that match is how I'm going to say it. But Roman Reigns is walking out tomorrow with both championships. But if that was the case, I want to my prediction is going to nail it to a T, but I want Roman to defend both titles on separate nights. I want him to defend one on one night and the other on the other night. If there's going to be a fuck finish tomorrow in that match, that's how I want it to be solved. I want it to be him fighting Sami on one night for the Universal and then fighting Cody for the WWE on night two.
And another way they could do this is Roman just wins tomorrow night with the help of the Usos, even though he said for them not to show up. And, there certainly were problems with them getting into Canada, but it sounds like, according to your favorite wrestling journalist, Dave Meltzer, they're actually cleared to go into Canada. I mean, I'm certainly a little skeptical of that because, is it, I forget, I think it's Jimmy who has a whole bunch of DUIs, and his most recent one was not that long ago.
It was Jimmy.
In with Jay, I think his most recent one was like 8 or 9 years ago, right? But, if they're both cleared to go to Canada, even though Roman says, hey, don't show up. Part of the promo that Sami cut on Monday Night Raw was like, hey, I was in deep with the bloodline. I know that they have a strategy for everything. And is this part of the strategy? Roman saying like, yeah, don't show up, but they're going to show up.
My big thing, Tim, is on the flip side, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens winning the tag team championships from the Usos is just so underwhelming for Sami Zayn after everything he's gone through with the bloodline. That I understand taking one of the titles away from Cody and taking away from his moment on night two. Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like, it's either you take from Cody's moment that could be one of the greatest moments in WrestleMania history in night two of WrestleMania, but you're also kind of lowballing Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn for what he's done, for the fact that he has stepped up to the plate. They have They have two legitimate faces. When was the last time WWE had like two baby faces? Was it Cena and Daniel Bryan? They're saying Sami Zayn is drawing numbers. The ratings is drawing more than what Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston did when they went to the same thing, respectively. Daniel Bryan deserved that moment in 2014. Kofi Kingston deserved that moment in 2019. Sami Zayn deserves the moment in 2023. It's just a shame because both Sami and Cody deserve to have their moments at WrestleMania. I just don't want Sami's moment to be, hey, Kevin Owens and I are going to win the tag team championship from the Usos. But another caveat to this that I wanted to add was that Paul told Jimmy to stay home. Nobody said anything to Jay. And he said, Jimmy, stay home and watch TV and watch it because sometimes you see stuff on television that you won't see when you're there in person.
Yeah.
So either one of two things, either it's going to lead to Jay and Jimmy clashing, which leads to Jimmy showing up at Elimination Chamber when he's told not to because Jay just shows up because they're not talking. Because all we know, the only time they talked was that conversation they had backstage at Mohegan Sun Arena and Foxwood or Ledger, or no, it was Foxwood. Uncasville, Connecticut.
Connecticut.
I said, it was funny when he came through the crowd real quick. When he came through the crowd, I said, of course he did. He had to drive up Route 2. There is no lights on Route 2. That is the worst drive ever. Is the ride home, the hour ride home from the casino after losing your entire paycheck. That is the worst. That is the worst ride ever. Because it's dark, there's no lights, and all you see is highway and state troopers.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny. I was like, yeah, of course he did, because he probably got lost. He didn't know what exit it was. You can't. All it is just it's dark, and then like as soon as you get to the exit where the casino is, there's like every light that they had that was supposed to be on the highway was at exit 27 for the casino.
Right.
I think I forgot. I know it's exit 27.
Yeah.
But that was something that I kept in my mind. I said, this is going to play into something. Jimmy Uso staying home. Jay Uso has not been told this. So Jay Uso's going to show up. Maybe Roman saw Jay and Sami because he wasn't there. He watched it on television. That's another caveat. There's so many wrinkles to all of this. And it's all because of, honestly, it's all because of Sami Zayn. All of this is happening because of Sami Zayn. Him winning the tag team titles is underwhelming. And that's not a slight on Cody Rhodes by any means. It's just that we've come at a time where a guy was red hot, got hurt, and is trying to get back on track, as opposed to the guy who's been super white hot since the guy got hurt.
Yeah. And you know, there are definitely a few things to unpack with the whole storyline, but this has been just the most intriguing television that has shown up in WWE in years. It really is. You know, as much as I'm like 99% sure Roman Reigns is going to walk out the champion tomorrow in some way, shape, or form, I'm not 100% sure it's going to be this clean victory where we don't end up altering the WrestleMania main event, because tomorrow is the last premium live event before WrestleMania. This is quite literally the last exit on the road to WrestleMania. And I don't see them necessarily throwing Sami Zayn off that. although Captain Cupcake does not have a clear opponent, going forward at this moment, but he could be put in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal with Baron Corbin for all I care.
I don't want to hear it about Kevin Owens for two reasons. Number one, he got to fight Steve Austin at WrestleMania last year. He's also the only person to have worked a match with Steve Austin and John Cena in the same year, like same calendar year, because he pulled that off too. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. That bitch blocked us on Twitter because I made a cupcake joke 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago. It's gonna be 7 years this year, this fall, 6.5 years. So I don't care if Kevin Owens is not on the WrestleMania card. My heart is not gonna weep. Okay, it's not. His moment at WrestleMania 35 was celebrating when Kofi Kingston beat Daniel Bryan. Oh God, there you go. There you go. Owens versus Elias. You want to talk about long-term storytelling? That's a whole year that those two have been building up. Elias's brother, Redacted, I'm never even going to mention that again. That's really the only way you could go and then have Kevin Owens beat the shit out of Elias. Although I know somebody said that Corbin's lower on the totem pole. I think it was let's say Tim was the one or Chris Brown said it, that Corbin's lower on the totem pole than Elias. I'm sorry, I watched the Royal Rumble. There was nobody in the... If Ricochet was peeing in Vince McMahon's cereal, Elias took a dump in Triple H's base or something, because I don't know what else to tell you. They made it abundantly clear during the Royal Rumble, just from what Michael Cole was saying, and I'm convinced that he is eating shit because of Vince McMahon. Because Vince McMahon liked Elias. And it's just a shame because I actually think Elias is very talented. He might not be one of the most great... He's not the greatest technical wrestler, but come on, nobody gets a reaction from the crowd like he does. Seattle knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Even if talking about what?
Hell, Kevin Owens can beat Elias in a freaking squash match. Ooh. I read this online. Let me get your thoughts, and I want your guys' thoughts on this too. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. How would you feel if Rhea Ripley beats Charlotte in a squash?
I'd love it, quite honestly. And I know Charlotte it's been said that Charlotte is pushing for this to be a main event match at WrestleMania, which clearly it would be a main event on night one. As much as normally I would be against this, I'm not against her making this request, and it's not because it's Charlotte. It's because Rhea Ripley's there.
Yeah.
And got the Rhea Ripley going over at WrestleMania with all she's done is 100% worth that main event spot. If you're not going to have Roman Reigns defend the title on 2 nights, I'm actually completely okay with Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley being the main event on night 1.
You know who else thinks that Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair should main event both nights, actually? Ric Flair.
Woo!
I want to see the squash. Just because we haven't had a really good squash match at WrestleMania in a while. I want Sheamus bro-kicking Daniel Bryan and beating him for the title at WrestleMania 28. I want Kane and Chavo Guerrero for the ECW title. I want King Kong Bundy versus SD Jones at WrestleMania 1. Earthquake versus Adam Bomb, I believe, at WrestleMania 6 or 8. Or one of those.
My cousin, man.
That's my cousin and shit. I think that's the perfect match to do it. because Rhea Ripley burying Charlotte Flair. Oh, he definitely wants to sleep with Charlotte doggy style. Absolutely. But Rhea Ripley squashing Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania would be huge. That would be talked about more than anything else from WrestleMania, other than what happens with Roman Reigns, obviously.
Right.
But I think that's something you could build Rhea Ripley into this badass that you're trying to turn her into.
Clearly, the two of them have really good chemistry. Quite honestly, that the WrestleMania with the one fan there, I thought her and Charlotte and Rhea of the legit wrestling matches, to me, had the best match probably of the weekend. And performers do a lot of practicing and wrestling without crowds, but with professional wrestling, there is an extra gear that happens with the crowd there. And most of those matches fell flat that weekend because the crowd wasn't there.
Yep.
That was one of the few where I was like, you know what, that was a damn good clinic of how to put together a match.
Yep.
I thought it was wrong to have Charlotte win that, but it was what it was. And Rhea getting her win back and kicking the crap out of Charlotte, I think would be awesome. If they're going to have it in the main event slot, it would be incredibly surprising if the main event slot was a squash match.
I'm not saying if it's honestly, if it's the main event, no, I don't want it to be a squash match. You can't have the main event end in a squash. This isn't UFC. If this is a scenario, if Roman does end up main eventing both nights, and he fights Sami night 1 and Cody night 2, or Cody night 1 and Sami night 2, or whatever he's going to do, and you have to put Charlotte and Rhea somewhere else in the card, start off WrestleMania. Let's think about this. You start off WrestleMania with Charlotte's music, and then the Spooky Pals music hits, Rhea Ripley's version, and she comes out, and she just kicks Charlotte's head off, and then 1, 2, 3, and she celebrates. She's got the SmackDown title. She's got Dominic on her shoulders, holding up the title in the air. That's what I want. If it's the main event, no. Give me a wrestling clinic between those two. If they're not in the main event, give me a squash. I hate to say it, the only other even title match or any match that you could probably do it with, and it'd just be an absolute injustice to this person, would be Asuka. And what? Spoiler alert: Asuka's winning tomorrow. When Asuka beats, if Asuka did that to Bianca Belair, that's the only other way you could do it. It would be like if they started before the match started, she shot the mist in her face, bell rings, she hits her with a finisher, 1, 2, 3. That's the only way you could do it. But I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. Bianca deserves better than that.
One thing I'll say about that whole thing for becoming #1 contender for Bianca's Raw Women's Championship, I appreciated the fact that there was a triple threat match on Monday Night Raw where you had two of the biggest names in the women's division in a match versus Bianca. Instead of adding those two large names into the pool of people who could face her at WrestleMania, Bianca looked strong and beat them. I got to give a lot of kudos for that, not doing the old Vince McMahon trick.
Right. You're not talking about Sonya Deville, because I know she's been trying to get him. Somebody on the SmackDown roster who also wants a shot at the title, who's deserving. The only one I've seen is Sonya Deville, because she's been basically asking for him.
Although she lost a couple of times against Charlotte.
Yeah, she did. I think that a match with Trish and Lita, if
they're in Toronto or they're in Montreal, there have been things out there in the news saying Trish's return is more or less imminent.
but it's not going to. Apparently, it was supposed to be a 6-woman tag, but Dakota Kai got hurt. So now I guess Trish, if she shows up and wrestles, is going to be at WrestleMania. Maybe we get Lita and Becky Lynch versus Bayley and Dakota Kai, or not Dakota Kai, or Io Sky, and then WrestleMania we get Trish Stratus versus Bayley. Because I know Bayley's been going out there and saying, I missed the last 2 WrestleManias. I'm not missing it. Come hell or high water, I'm wrestling at WrestleMania this year. I can see her fighting Trish Stratus. It worked for Kevin Owens in his match against Steve Austin.
Right.
And Trish Stratus, I think Trish and Bayley would have a hell of a match.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right. I don't know how we transition. I know one thing Tim has been waiting for us to talk about that we can get into. Seth Rollins and his boots.
I saw those ridiculous things for the first time last week. And I thought to myself, 2 things. Number one, what am I looking at? What are those? And my second... My second thought was, how long until we see Seth Rollins wearing these on Monday Night Raw? He doesn't. This man doesn't disappoint. He's mad that I didn't make him Wrestler of the Year. He's just mad.
It reminded me of the 80s. There was a thing called moon boots back in the 80s. I owned a pair of moon boots back in the 80s. Napoleon Dynamite owned a pair of moon boots in the early 2000s. They were pretty awesome, but these were like moon boots on steroids.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers versions. I want to see at WrestleMania, I want to see the Star-Lord, who will be in the new Super Mario Brothers movie, with Seth Rollins in a match or a verbal segment on that show in Los Angeles. Book it, make it happen. I want to see it.
I also, once upon a time, had a pair of moon boots. And I also do not want to mention it, but I'm going to anyway because I'm brainless. When I was wrestling with my friends, I used to treat those as my wrestling boots. It's all about presentation, baby.
When Tim DDT'd his brother, he did not use moon boots. When we used to do the LOD ending move or the demolition ending move, we did not use the moon boots.
When my buddy Big Tom blasted me in the skull with a steel chair, I can almost guarantee he was not wearing moon boots. I don't remember. That's the problem. There's a lot of stuff I don't remember after that, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was concussion. I don't remember if that was the first or second concussion. It just gets blurry.
Yeah.
Oh man, I everything to Seth Rollins
were fucking epic. I mean, Mrs. like the way Miz responded to them was awesome. The way Vince Russo douched himself out again.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, how am I supposed to take him bro seriously, bro? bro.
Oh, it was great. I loved it. Because my first thought when he wore them was, man, he is pissed that Jay took that Best Dressed Wrestler award in the 2022 Marquee Awards. He wants it back in 2023. And quite frankly, I think he's got it. He might he might have just secured it. He might have been one of the fastest to secure a Marquee Award that was not a Royal Rumble participant.
Except for Roman Reigns.
Oh, I mean, Jay, like I said, he has to shave his head. He has to have no hair.
For, at this point, I think we're at 2,300 days. You may think his current reign is Universal Champion / undisputed champion is impressive. The man has had the wettest hair for at least 7 years.
It's gonna be a shame if he goes away from television after he drops the 2 belts and comes back with no hair. Because then I don't know what Seth Rollins. I'm not gonna give it the twinkle toes.
Right. Chris Brown, word on Riddle or Orton. So it sounds like Orton will be back soonish. My guess is he will be back the night after WrestleMania. I could be wrong. We could see him this weekend. If you really want to throw a monkey wrench into whatever plans people believe are going to happen coming to, the show of shows, Randy Orton is the only kind of extra exit that they have if they wanted to surprise everybody.
Well, I mean,
beyond that, I think we're going to see, this is my guess, Orton will be the night after WrestleMania returning. Apparently he's ordered new boots.
Yep.
And we'll see where that goes. And quite honestly, I think they're going to delay his return to be with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, having gone to rehab,
yes.
I spoke to this a few weeks ago on the show. Yeah, he did his 6 weeks of rehab, but going back into the life that, he was used to, doing whatever extracurricular activities he was doing immediately is a really bad idea. But by the time we get to right after WrestleMania, we're going to talk about Matt Riddle, who has hopefully been clean for close to 4 months, not 6 weeks, 4 months, and maybe has a little bit more of a solid foundation underneath him. And then maybe he could actually start a feud with Orton and have them have a big fucking match at Money in the Bank, which will be in front of a hot freaking crowd in England in May.
I 100% agree that's probably what's going to happen. If we do not see Randy Orton before WrestleMania, he's coming out the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, and he's RKOing Cody Rhodes. Oh, absolutely. That's almost as much of a lock as any of my predictions. If they really wanted to throw a monkey wrench in the plans, yes. If he's the one, either him or AJ Styles. That's really the only 2 guys that are kind of left. I mean, what's going to happen if Twinkle Toes is the free? I mean, I hope not. But what if they get Jay White? What if Jay White signs and is like, all right, I want to have a match at WrestleMania?
Right.
This is, Jay, when was the last time that we got this close to WrestleMania and it's just chaos? We have 2 matches basically set in stone. The SmackDown Women's Championship and whatever Roman and Cody Rhodes are going to be fighting for at WrestleMania. And even that's kind of up in the air.
2 nights.
Yep.
Without having anything announced. I mean, which tells you about the brand of WrestleMania. But even beyond that, it's Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
And I have more faith in him not fucking this up than I ever did with Vince. So
Interesting.
I think whatever path they go down, I feel like it's going to be a satisfying ride and a satisfying end to the story, whatever storyline they're doing.
Yeah. I agree. It's just so wild to me that this is how close we are to WrestleMania, and it's still up in the air. And it's not because, and the funny thing is, it's not because people. I mean, yes, there's a couple people hurt, but it's not injuries that are influencing the fact that the card is what it is. This is almost like, I'm not saying we're not in AEW territory, where 3 nights before the pay-per-view they announced 80% of the card, and
Right.
and like at least a third of them end up being 7 minutes or less. But the fact is, we're really not even set in stone because now we have Sammy and Roman. Because if for whatever reason, in the offset chance that the underdog from the underground can pull off the upset of all upsets, the Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson-esque upset here.
That's ludicrous.
It's ignorant. I think it's just wide open, and I'm excited because I have no idea what's going to happen in 6 weeks.
With all my hope on the whole life.
I think it's 6 weeks. Yeah. But it's just crazy. And I do like the idea of Randy Orton returning the night after WrestleMania and RKO and Cody Rhodes. Hell, that could be your time for him to really turn heel and punt him in the skull.
Right.
Or
Right.
Or if you really want to turn him heel, if you don't want him to do it to Cody, I'm sure he can do it to Sami Zayn and have the same reaction.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the Viper being back.
Same.
I hope he's at 100%. You know, the little bits of news I actually saw out there said that whatever fusion surgery they did with him, it doesn't sound like a traditional like neck fusion or what have you. It sounds like they had to figure something either new out or something that's relatively new, do it on him and see what happens.
Right.
So, but I think we need to see an end to the RK Bro storyline as much as it's really hit a lot of twists and turns and has fallen off the map. It deserves to be finished.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, you can ultimately, because your biggest thing when you're going to walk into after WrestleMania, especially because you don't know what the hell's going to happen with Roman, is who's going to be the first one up against Cody Rhodes. And honestly, you could really run it back with Randy Orton from the night after WrestleMania all the way up to SummerSlam if you really wanted to.
Right.
You can. There's enough juice in that story to make it good for a long time.
And you could do it where you have, you know, Randy Orton go against Riddle at Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Orton goes over, and then after whatever Cody does at Money in the Bank, have Orton kickstart it there. There are plenty of ways they could go about it. But I think
I agree.
I think we'll see Orton, but I'd put my money on the night after WrestleMania, and he's going to RKO like 20 people. He's probably going to go ballistic, and that'll be the jumpstart to his comeback.
Yep.
They've already sold out WrestleMania. They don't need his name to sell any tickets. He doesn't need to do anything that could possibly hamper him into the future. Give him a couple more months off.
if at the end of it at WrestleMania, if Cody's standing there with the titles and Randy Orton comes out that looks like he's celebrating, and when they're celebrating together and he RKOs and stands over Cody Rhodes, fine. Other than that, Monday night after WrestleMania. Unless you got something so good you need Randy Orton back for. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Speaking of returns, real quickly, and it looks like CM Punk will be cleared to return to AEW by April. Do you think Tony Khan brings him back on television?
I'm going to put that at this point 40-60. If you would have asked me like 3 months ago, I would have probably put it at like 5% or less. But I think at this point, I'm not going to say more likely than not. I'm going to say a little less likely than not. But
yeah,
AEW still pulls in pretty good numbers. I go back to when they first started, when TNT would have been satisfied 100% with 500,000.
Yep.
They're pulling in routinely close to 1 million, and there has been a slow but steady decline since Punk has gone away. Has Tony Khan matured enough in the time that Punk has been away to finally be the fucking boss?
That's been the issue since day one.
Those in the Buckaroos to be fucking men and earn their EVP titles.
Yep.
And not put themselves above everybody else.
Agreed.
Have they done that? Now, you know me. I am still no big fan of CM Punk. He has now walked out on 2 fucking companies. He clearly, is not somebody that you could completely trust. Does he draw people? Clearly. And with AEW, they do not have somebody like waiting in the wings to go against MJF, where you're like going, I can't wait to see this happening. I'm looking forward to the match with MJF and Bryan Danielson and the Iron Man match, but it's not something I have to see.
Right. I'm not going to shell out $50-$60 for that pay-per-view. I'm sorry. I did it once. I was grossly underwhelmed by the show. I'm not going to do it.
And Tony Khan also came out this week and spoke of possibly adding more pay-per-views to the schedule. And he more or less said, unless we get a streaming service, it's not going to happen. If we get a streaming service, the current pay-per-views we have will be the big 5, and the other ones will be kind of secondary things. Which tells me current moment, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Probably not.
On top of that, Tony Khan did announce the return of Ring of Honor weekly shows,
yep,
which will be coming up on their app. And the tapings are to take place, I think it's on the 25th and 26th of February at Universal Studios in Florida. And they're going to be doing about 5 tapings. And the first of which will air in early March. And they'll be going forward with that. So one of those things that we know that we were inching towards. I'm glad that they're finally, pulling the trigger, going forward with this. Clearly, Tony took some time to think this out and out. Otherwise, we would have gotten Ring of Honor stuff immediately after he bought the company.
Right.
He as much as some folks were kind of ticked off that he utilized AEW television time to promote Ring of Honor, you know what? The dude for Ring of Honor did record gates and record pay-per-view buys by doing what he did. As much as a lot of people prefer how Ring of Honor was before, if you're talking strictly monetary-wise, they did better with the way Tony did it. Now, I think he's biting off way more than he can chew by not having somebody assigned to be the head booker of Ring of Honor or Rampage or something else. He's got an awful lot on his plate. He's also trying to negotiate TV deals. He's also trying to negotiate with wrestlers. That's an awful lot. And even if he's doing his freaking best,
yep,
I don't think you can have your eye on all those balls at the same time and do a super effective job.
Agreed.
But
he's got
glad to have Ring of Honor back as a thing.
Me too. And if anything, you got Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett knows how to book. He'd be better at that than what he's doing now. I really don't need to see him come out and hit people with guitars anymore. He should be booking Ring of Honor, Impact, or not Impact. Oh, talk about a blast from the past. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Somebody else should really be stepping up and booking anything else instead of just Tony Khan. But one person who's probably going to be a part of that Ring of Honor show is one Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
And Mark Briscoe had a match on Wednesday against Zach Woods. They have a lot of history together in their time in Ring of Honor. And after the match, we found out that Mark Briscoe is officially All Elite. I hate the fact that this is the reason that he got the contract with AEW is the reason he got the contract with AEW. I really wish it was other circumstances, but I'm very happy for him to get this opportunity. I'll tell you right now, I've listened to a couple of his promos. I'm already a fan.
It's not exactly the same, but it reminds me of Christian's World Heavyweight Championship run in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
If Edge was still around, that wouldn't have happened, and that epic Randy Orton-Christian feud would not have happened. They had three of the greatest matches, not even just that year, in wrestling history. And each one of them was demonstrably different. They were all fucking awesome.
Yeah, they were.
And it sucks that, Edge's career, it was put on pause for 9 years and we thought it was ended. And that's what it took for a Christian who had been a solid worker, solid performer for a long time for Vince McMahon to get his opportunity. Yep. And he did not fail in that. Mark Briscoe is not going to fail in this, and it sucks that his brother had to die.
It does.
For
it really does.
To happen. And he's going to make the best of this because this is one of those things similar to Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, wanted to do with Reed the WWE dream, but it was more Reed's dream than it was Charlotte's.
Yep.
And the Briscoe brothers, because of, the things Jay said in character, were forced to, nothing wrong with working Ring of Honor and working the Indies, but were forced to not be in the biggest companies in the world because of it. They would have been a big freaking deal in WWE.
Oh, absolutely.
They would have been, I think, a modern-day version of the Dudley Boys where you think these guys aren't going to get over in this company. They would have.
Oh, absolutely.
They would have gotten over in AEW.
Oh, absolutely. Cornette said they had the 3 best tag team wrestling matches in the year of 2022. The Briscoes and FTR were the 3 best tag team matches of 2022, and none of them were for AEW.
Right.
But
kudos for Tony Khan finally pushing against the network and getting the network to relent and put this dude where he belongs on a big platform to showcase what the hell he could do. I mean, my big question with this is what becomes of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships?
It's a good question. My guess is they'll probably have him forfeit the titles the first show, and he'll do his singles run and everything. I really don't know. And honestly, I don't know what the hell Tony Khan's going to do. My guess is the fucking Buckaroos are going to be like, hey, let's just have us do it.
But Tim brings up FTR looking to be heading back to WWE. I forget which one it was. Was it Dax? I think it was Dax, who ended up posting a photo on social media. In the bottom left corner, you could see a little piece of paper, and it was clearly the WWE like logo. Was that on purpose? Was that an old contract that they had? Or was that something new? What are your thoughts, Brainless?
Well, Chris Brown says Dax Harwood might be in shit with WWE for posting that pic of a glass of alcohol next to a WWE contract on his table. I could see him just trolling. He knows what the hell he's doing. He's very smart. He knows that they're a top tag team in free agency right now. Well, when their contracts are up in April. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't want Tony Khan coming after me and hitting me for collusion. But yeah, I mean, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was just doing it to troll on people. It just seems like what kind of person Dax Harwood doesn't look like he's afraid to just speak his mind. Yeah, I mean,
most contracts out there, I don't know what FTR's current contract is, but a lot of places where you work, if you are within 60 days of your contract expiring, generally you are free to negotiate with outside interests. I don't know if that's the case specifically with this. Again, we don't know if that picture was taken recently. I mean, it has the Ring of Honor titles. It has a couple other things that make you think that it was done recently.
Fairly recent, yeah.
But it's also, again, he could have taken an old contract and just put it on the stand to just screw with people.
Yep.
Quite leaning towards.
Tell me Tony Khan hasn't contacted a free agent in the NFL, or his dad hasn't contacted a free agent in the NFL before the actual time period to talk to a player in the NFL. Come on.
Right.
Please. They're going to talk about their moral grounds. They acquired a wide receiver who got freaking suspended for gambling on football. Not that I really have I live in a glass house, so I know I shouldn't be throwing rocks, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the only topic I have left is the Elimination Chamber predictions. I got
a couple of other less large item things, although kind of large item. A judge this week has dismissed MLW's lawsuit against WWE for tampering with TV deals. Now, this did not mean that this lawsuit is over, but MLW has 21 days to either resubmit paperwork with more evidence, or they have to kind of figure out a different way of wording what they're saying, because the judge has said there is not enough pure evidence out here for me to say that this needs to go forward. So the GOAT, Jerry McDevitt, once again, doing his thing.
That's who I want to see WWE send after Tony Khan is Jerry McDevitt. You know, I could ruin you guys. Let me just look inside this. This is going to be over quick.
Right.
Shad Khan, do you know that Kenny Omega sticks his fingers in dudes' buttholes and wrestles blow-up dolls for 11 minutes?
Beyond that, the Ass Boys have signed extensions with AEW. And I think, you know, clearly part of the deal was, hey, we like what we see in you. We're going to extend you, and we're also going to have enough faith in you to put the tag team championships on you.
I loved it.
Good for them.
I'm happy for them because they really have been busting their ass. Because they deserve the titles. They deserve the contract extensions. They're two guys who have grew up basically in this industry because their dad's Daddy Ass, Mr. Ass. I'm an ass man. But they really have gotten better as a tag team in the ring. And I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest things in professional wrestling is getting a reaction from the crowd. That crowd last week when they took the titles from the Acclaimed was toxic. That's the kind of reaction you want to get. Yeah. That was I'm happy for them because they've really deserved it. As much as I wanted to see them go to WWE because I really think they would actually flourish in WWE because they're built for WWE. I'm glad they got the contract extensions because they deserve it. They do.
You know what? We will see them in WWE at some point.
Absolutely.
One other thing I do want to bring up is WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
Going to have a new show, Stone Cold Does America on A&E, where Stone Cold is going to be going out there and experiencing a lot of things within the United States that he has never gotten to experience.
Oh, it's just a crying shame that which one of the bars that we could have brought him to, that he could have brought to the experience
that Stone Cold Steve Austin ended up being like one of the new co-hosts of either Three Sheets or Drinking Made Easy.
Not the Thirsty Camel. Definitely not the Greenies. If Greenies was still around, we could have had freaking Triple H. Or not Triple H, wow. Steve Austin at Greenies. Or the Blue Jacket Inn.
Yes.
I saw that. That's great. Honestly, anytime Steve Austin's on my television, it's must-see television because I just love Steve Austin. What? Ooh, Jay, there is one thing I have here on my list that I need to get to, though. I apologize.
All right. Yeah.
It's not what you think because I have two surprises for today. It's not just a musical number. Today is our 300th episode, correct?
Yeah.
We have gone through a lot of stuff in those 299 previous episodes. We've had some incredible moments.
Yeah.
And I figured that tonight would be the perfect time to take a stroll down memory lane as the Brainless One presents to you his top 10 moments in F and Mark's podcast history.
Yeah.
Number 10, the episode you and I shot where we were drunk off Fireball.
Yeah.
Number 9. Number 9, the episode where El Hesse showed up as a surprise entrant in the WrestleMania episode. I think it was the second season. It was one of the first two.
Wait.
That was you got room for one more? Number 8, the episode where the Brainless One did the Edward 40. Really? Edward 40 hands? Who wrote this list?
You did it twice.
I did do it twice. The first time wasn't the first time I fell.
An hour and 10 minutes, and then it was an hour and 8 minutes the second time, both of which are absolutely insane in my view.
Thank you.
Kudos
And
to Brainless One.
I'm pretty sure the first one was the one where I fell out of the chair afterwards.
Yes.
It was that one. Number 7, Slapjack. Number 6, I know it doesn't have anything to do with the podcast, but technically the co-hosts of the F and Marks podcast and an F and Marks Hall of Famer were there at the Scope when Randy Orton shushed us.
Yes.
Number 5, the episode with the brainless Nia Jax meltdown.
Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube so you can see the brainless meltdown about Nia Jax.
I did share it on our Facebook page earlier this week, too.
Ugh.
Number 4, one of my personal favorites. The episode where Cousin Jay accurately predicts the return of the Punjabi prison.
Very proud of that.
Number 3, the Man-O-Lantern. Wait, what?
Wait.
The Man-O-Lantern. The Man-O-Lantern.
What?
Number 2, Curtis Axel is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Which episode was that?
All of them. I mean, episode 1, 2, what? 3, what?
What?
And do I really need to tell you what the number 1 moment in F and Mark's Hall podcast history is? It is the only moment to secure somebody into the F and Mark's Hall of Fame. And that was the episode where Dixie Marie did the 5-star dog splash on the poor cat. Dixie is the greatest moment in F and Mark's podcast history.
Yep.
Oh.
Great moments. And I have captured and shared, as many people who have followed the show have noticed in the last month and a half, we've been more active, and I've been trying to capture, some of the bigger, funnier moments in the show and share them as reels and get more people to join in on the madness that is this show every week.
Can I just admit to something? I have now watched the video with you, me, El Jefe, and LA Knight at least a dozen times. At least. I might be underselling it just a tad.
You know what video oddly is doing like ridiculous?
Is a recap show from last week.
The topical promoting like Jerry Lawler, having the stroke. That thing is doing gangbusters. There are people still liking it and commenting on it. A couple weeks later, that was just supposed to promote our show for that week.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, hold on. Is this like episode 91 on Periscope that they thought it was somebody's butt cheeks? And they're just like, oh no, it's these 2 dudes talking about wrestling while drinking a 40, a Colt 45. Because if the 40 don't get you,
the 5 will. But, I am still super proud of the short that I made for the Cinnamon Toast Crunch match. I'm also mega proud of the reel and short that that was put together about Hulk Hogan wrestling 400 days in the year and how I was able to come up with a logical way where that could have happened. Ooh, yeah.
yeah.
But, yeah.
And it was funny, too, because I wanted to say what my favorite live from Hulk Hogan was, but I couldn't pick one. They were all fantastic because I remember reading that whole thing, the whole trending topic, or whatever the hell it was, the whole, I forget what it's called.
He almost was the basis for Metallica.
I don't know. I mean, that one, he was almost the guy for the George Foreman grill. He wrestled 400 days in a year.
The was 700 pounds when they went against each other at WrestleMania 3, and he died a couple days later.
9 days later. 700 pounds, died 9 days later. Oh, there was other ones.
I'm telling you, it's because Doctor Strange visited the Macho Man and gave Macho Man the Cauldron of Madness, which allowed Hulk Hogan to branch off. And there is not one Hulk Hogan. There's like a cajillion of them. And he's getting all of those memories and thoughts into his head simultaneously. That's why he has to get into Scientology, so he can actually kind of like quiet the voices. He's hearing more voices in his head than Randy Orton is right now. I can confirm that as a fact. Just like Hogan can confirm that he tried out for Metallica and almost got the job.
Did he almost make a baseball team too? Like he almost made the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. And it just happens to be
like, I think he was a legit decent athlete, but I think he was trying to overshadow the Macho Man, who actually was a really good baseball player.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, man. Only did steroids a couple times, and one of my favorite truthful interviews from Hogan was when he was on Oprah Winfrey back in the 80s, and she asked him about, being on drugs, and he's like, nope, I don't do that.
Oh, man.
I mean, the dollar bills that were coming out of the Hebner twins, back pocket during that main event match against Andre the Giant is real as Hulk Hogan not doing cocaine every night with the Macho Man.
Right. Jimmy DeShane was also a minor league baseball player.
AAA, baby.
Philadelphia Phillies and Chicago Cubs. I have his autograph somewhere in my house, by the way.
Hall of Famer Tim played with him. So, yeah.
I have his autograph somewhere in this house.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's worth more than mine.
Yeah. For now.
For now. So, my question, Jay, is, should we do the musical number first, or should we do the predictions first?
You know what? Let's do the musical number, and then we'll do the damn predictions. Damn it.
All right.
Damn it. Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to top. We didn't start the Mania a couple years ago. It's going to be close. But I feel good. I feel great. I feel wonderful. And I dedicate this one song to a particular professional wrestler in the industry, a man who may or may not be a free agent, and may or may not be in AEW any longer, and may or may not be main event in WrestleMania next year in Philadelphia. But as for one Kenny Omega, I have a song for you. Unfortunately, I don't have the beat, but Kenny got beat up by Punk and Ace Steel after mocking wrestling on my TV. You can say there's no such thing as kayfabe, but as for me and Corny, we believe he'd been wrestling with the Young Bucks, and they begged him not to go. But CM Punk had called him a child, and he staggered through Punk's doors with those fucks. When they found him after the media scrum, after the scene with all the harm, he had chair marks on his forehead and incriminating bite marks on his arm. Kenny got beat up by Punk and Ace Steel after mocking wrestling on my TV. You can say there's no such thing as kayfabe, but as for me and Corny, we believe. Now we're all so proud of Corny. He's been covering on his podcast, sitting in there talking wrestling, drinking Sprite and hating the Elite with Brian Last. It's not Dynamite with the Elite back. All the ratings started to slack. And Tony Khan can't help to wonder, should I let these pricks go or keep them back? Keep them back. Kenny got beat up by Punk and Ace Steel after mocking wrestling on my TV. You can say there's no such thing as kayfabe, but as for me and Corny, we believe. Now the roster is in shambles, and Punk has been seen. Oh. And the Mox and Stokely stables, which took a massive shit from Twinkle Toes. I've warned all my friends in neckbeards. You better listen to the man with a southern drawl. They should never watch wrestling with a guy who wrestles children and blow up dolls. Kenny got beat up by Punk and Ace Steel after embarrassing wrestling on my TV. You can say there's no such thing as kayfabe, but as for me and Corny, we believe. Sing it, Corny! Kenny got beat up by Punk and Chris Guy after mocking wrestling on my TV. You can say there's no such thing as kayfabe, but as for me and Corny, we believe. Fuck the Elite.
Yeah! Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. I know I screwed up a little bit, and then I realized that my handwriting is like watching a chicken with ALS.
Your and wife write it down for you.
Yeah, I know. I think for the next song I do, I'm going to have her write it down for me.
Yeah.
All right. So after that rousing and rendition of that, let's get into Elimination Chamber predictions.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So what match you want to start with? You want to go with, let's start with the Women's Elimination Chamber match.
Okay.
Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Carmella, Nikki Cross,
Neidhart, and Asuka.
Asuka, yes, thank you. I got Asuka. I said it earlier. I got Asuka. And not only is Asuka
all the names on this list, and you're thinking WrestleMania, Asuka is the only name that makes any sense when you're talking about the Raw Women's Championship. Only one that makes sense. I have respect for Natty and what she's done, but she's not on that level. Raquel Rodriguez, I have respect for her. She is not there yet. Liv Morgan, as much as I could, yes, she's developed a following. I don't think she's there either. Nikki Cross, I love her. Asuka.
Hold on.
Wait.
Liv Morgan would have taken this match if Rhea Ripley had challenged Bianca Belair instead of Charlotte Flair. Because with Liv Morgan, there is a history with her and Charlotte. So it would have made a hell of a lot of sense to do this. The fact that they're taking, I don't know, I guess they're taking one from, oh boy, Bray Wyatt has just called out Roman and Sammy. Oh boy. But honestly, why is Carmella in this match? Why is Natty Neidhart in this match? I get Raquel Rodriguez, but she's another one that the crowd goes mild. It's Asuka. There's nobody else in this match who's going to win this match. It's Asuka. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So then we got the Spooky Pals going against Ed and Beth Phoenix. Quite honestly, for me, this one, not way difficult, but the idea of you have Rhea Ripley, who is going to be challenging Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title in a very high-profile match. She clearly is not taking a pin here.
No.
I think it would do her well to pin Beth Phoenix, but I think we end up seeing Edge pin Finn Balor here.
You know, I was gonna say Edge and Beth Phoenix going over, but I think that Rhea Ripley getting that victory pinfall over Beth Phoenix is a good stepping stone for her last big match before WrestleMania. Because her losing after winning the Rumble at the 1 to a woman who's, I mean, no disrespect to Beth Phoenix, she is a well-deserving Hall of Famer. She's had an incredible career, incredible resume. She's not an everyday performer.
Right.
Rhea Ripley, I'm going with the Spooky Pals here.
Okay. All right, the men's elimination chamber for the United States Championship. We have Austin Theory, Seth Franklin Rollins in his Super Mario Brothers boots, Montez Ford. We've got Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, and Bronson Reed. I think there are a few names, honestly, in this list that you could make a plausible argument for them winning the title. You know, if Austin Theory is to go against John Cena at WrestleMania, it would be better if Austin Theory doesn't have the title. And you can make him not look like a chump by losing in this match.
Yep. Because this is a very, very dangerous structure, as WWE has mentioned on many occasions. Honestly, I agree with you. You could really make a case for any of these guys to win this match.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Theory not dropping the title and facing John Cena at WrestleMania, anybody else that they could have brought in, and it's like, I don't know, I can't see them really beating. Yeah, John Cena is John Cena. John Cena winning the United States Championship at WrestleMania is not out of the realm of possibilities. Only because, A, of my 30-plus years of watching professional wrestling, they don't disappoint. And since he started in 2002, who is more of a lock to win at a wrestling match than John Cena, especially at WrestleMania? Except maybe The Undertaker.
Right.
So, the only person I don't want to see win this match is Bronson Reed. I'm sorry. He's only been there. I know that he's the guy who beat Okada. Yeah, great. I don't care. He's only been there for like a week. He's been there for a cup of coffee. It's going to be Johnny Gargano. I don't know why, but I think it's going to be Johnny Gargano.
Okay. We have a lot of dissenting opinions, and I am going to actually agree with Chris Brown. I'm going with Montez Ford.
I wanted to pick Montez Ford.
You know, Biggie recently coming out talking about how it's time to put the rocket on this dude and see what he could do on his own. The fact that he and his wife are shooting the reality series. I made the prediction that part of his rise as a solo competitor was going to be part of promoting said series. And there's nothing better than having not only him winning at Elimination Chamber, but him going into WrestleMania as the U.S. champion and having, a high-profile match. Who it's going to be against, I don't know at this moment, but I think it would take, if Austin Theory wins and has the championship and he goes against John Cena at WrestleMania, that means to me either an effed finish or you can't have John Cena lose, right? He kicks out at 2 all the time.
He'll walk out as United States champion. I don't have a problem with it because it's John Cena. And believe me, I wanted to say Montez Ford in the worst possible way. I did. This smells like Johnny Gargano. And I'll tell you right now, Montez, it was a toss-up. I contemplated for the entire podcast of where I was going to go in between those two. I was stuck on Gargano and Montez. I said Gargano just because I don't want to be the reason Montez Ford doesn't win tomorrow.
Okay. Tim going too early for Montez. He thinks he wins Money in the Bank.
Gunther. Gunther's going to drop the Intercontinental title to Sheamus at WrestleMania. I will rejoice. And by the time I'm done celebrating Sheamus winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, Gunther's going to win Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Can I introduce this one? We got the Battle of the Meat Shields. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Besides wrestling fans, who do you got winning this match?
I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley, and I think it's going to be outside interference that allows him to win this match.
Yep. I also think it's going to be Bobby Lashley. It's going to lead to the return of the Hurt Business, and which I'm going to be just as thrilled with that as I would if Sheamus wins the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. I agree. I think it's Bobby Lashley, and it's going to set up for them having another match. The culmination match is going to happen at WrestleMania, and I can only hope and pray that they give it to us in the Fight Pit.
Yeah,
because you've been asking for it for years, and I have been supporting this one for years, just as much as the Punjabi Prison. We need to see Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar in the freaking in the Fight Pit.
Yeah, Fight Pit, Lions Den, whatever the hell structure they want to call it, but have it be legit. And Daniel Cormier, if they bring you back, dude, do better.
I can see that happening with Dawkins going heel, because Montez Ford did say that if he wins the U.S. title, he's defending it against Angelo Dawkins at WrestleMania. That's where you can have Angelo Dawkins turn on him.
All right. And the main event, Sami Zayn going against the man who, as much as 900 days as Universal Champion is impressive, he is 7 years as wettest hair.
Okay, I'm good. We didn't have a bad man moment here. I didn't have to keel over in a freaking bucket somewhere. I'm okay.
Really?
We got incredible insurance. I'm okay. What do you got?
Going with Roman Reigns. I'm going with Roman Reigns. I'm not saying that this is going to be a clean finish. I think there's going to be some chicanery here, and Roman defeats Sami in some ways, shape, or form. Whether or not this leads to a triple threat or multiple title defenses at WrestleMania, I don't know. But Roman wins. Oh. Yeah.
Give me Sami Zayn tomorrow. I don't care. I don't care if there is a 1% chance that he wins tomorrow. Give me Sami Zayn. I am in Zayn for Sami Zayn to win his title. I'll tell you what. Since we were just talking about YouTube, I was actually on our YouTube page before. I already discussed this with the Brainless Wife. It is now going to be official here. If Sami Zayn somehow, some way, walks out of Elimination Chamber tomorrow as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, we get Man of Lantern 2.0 on the podcast. Hell, I'm gonna boost up those odds a little bit. I'm gonna make the stakes a little stronger. I will have my entire chest and front area of my stomach and my chest waxed. Not just the Man of Lantern. Everything on my stomach and chest will be waxed if Sami Zayn walks out with both titles tomorrow. Wait till you hear what I got up my sleeve if Sheamus wins the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania.
And that's more likely,
So
more likely to happen than tomorrow.
Yeah. If the I'd rather do the freaking waxing than the what I'm going to do for Sheamus.
It's a shameful thing.
Lobster head. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's for Sami Zayn. It is for Sami Zayn. Oh my God! If he gets, he's going to get his old entrance. He's going to get Worlds Collide or Worlds Apart. I'm sorry, Worlds Apart tomorrow. He's going to come out to that.
I love the fact that on Monday we got the Ole, Ole, Ole chant. He has not been Generico for a decade. And the New York crowd still new.
Yep.
So.
I will say this. We are more likely, I'm still going to say Sami Zayn because I'm still sticking with Sami Zayn. We're more likely to see Montreal Screwjob 2.0 tomorrow than we do with Sami Zayn walking out. I'm still picking Sami Zayn to win.
Okay.
All right, I think that's, is that all the topics?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got some good, bad, and brainless to hit up.
Yes, we do. What do you got for your good this week, Cousin Jay?
You know, that there are a lot of things. Like, I could just specifically say Sami Zayn between the promo he cut with Heyman last Friday and the promo he cut with Cody on Monday. But I got to go with how they booked Bianca Belair.
Okay.
The fact that she went in a triple threat match against Bayley and Becky, you would think somehow, some way, one of those two or both of those two would have figured into the Elimination Chamber. And they didn't, which means they are not going to be necessarily the main event for WrestleMania. Now, I'm not going to say they're not going to be high profile, because if Trish Stratus is returning, I think it's a possibility that we get Becky versus Trish, which
that'd be awesome.
Might even be a bigger deal than Rhea against Charlotte.
Yep.
You know, and bigger deal than Asuka versus Bianca.
Yep.
But I thought it was a really good booking decision to have a triple threat match and have your champion go over. It's not like the fucking Vince McMahon era where your champion was always made to look like a chump to get the next contender up there.
Mm-hmm.
At least Triple H, we have people, whether it's a six-pack challenge or a gauntlet match, you have to actually face somebody and get a freaking victory that's not the champion to make them look like shit before you have them have a championship match and lose.
Right.
I appreciate the way that Triple H is booking this stuff.
Yes, it is incredible that he's doing it that way. I think he's learned from Vince's issues or problems that he had.
Right.
See, for me, I really, really wanted to make Mark Briscoe my good for this week. I really did. The fact that he is all elite after everything he's gone through, but these words are going to come out of my mouth. My good for this week goes to JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett, going out there and wrestling on Wednesday, a day or two after your dad passing away, is just incredible. He did his father right by doing that, because that's what Jerry Jarrett would have wanted. So for me, Jeff Jarrett gets my good for this week.
Okay.
What do you got for your bad?
There are several things this week in the bad and brainless category, and quite honestly, I've got three of them that top the list, and it's hard to pick the two of the three that I think are more bad and more brainless. It's a big part of me wanted to put the fact that Madcap Moss is getting an Intercontinental title match. I'm going to go with Goldberg in his comments about Rihanna in her Super Bowl performance. I thought Rihanna did pretty freaking awesome. And the fact that Goldberg came out and, you know, trashed what she did, it's like, dude, whatever. Like, she did good. She did well. Like, what's your problem, dude?
Yeah, I didn't understand why he said that because I also enjoyed Rihanna's performance at the Super Bowl halftime show. And to the point where 5 million more people tuned into her performance at halftime than they did in the actual Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I thought it was good. My bad for this week goes on to the continuous story between Saraya, Britt Baker, Ruby Soho, and Toni Storm. I'm just sick and tired of this shit. It is just absolute garbage. And it's funny because I'm glad somebody mentioned Russo and what he said about Rhea Ripley. It was you who said it about what Russo said about Rhea Ripley, where she should just dress up like everybody else. There was a point when I was watching the scrum between Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Toni Storm, and Saraya, where I thought Britt Baker was two different people. I had to go and watch 3 or 4 different angles just to see it was Jamie Hayter. They look too much alike. And what is this with the spray paint on the butt that Toni Storm's doing? Oh, it's like, come on. No. This is horrible shit. I proved it this week. I'm a bigger heel than anybody in that whole storyline. How many times has Saraya or Toni Storm had an entire arena of people turn on them? 0.
Yeah.
I don't care if the arena only had 32 fans in it. It's the point. It's the principle. It's principality.
It was an entire auditorium in Norfolk, Virginia.
Come on, the kitty litter guy was enough for like 3 guys anyway.
Next level.
Okay, what's the real wrestling?
A couple of years at the air show, I was like going, effing kitty litter guy. Effing kidder.
I wish I knew he was there like enough time that I could have went and like hounding him down and like, hey, you remember me? Yeah, I'm watching real wrestling because I hid behind my computer. That wasn't even there when I said it, you dumb fuck. But yeah, that was my bad for this week. Sorry. What do you got for your brainless?
I am going, and I was so happy that I got to post your little bit of a rant against one Vince Russo. Real in a short, because that douchebag went and douched himself up to a next level this week. Where the dude wanted to, like, Rhea Ripley has organically changed her character and gotten the crowd to react. And Russo's like, bro.
What's up with that, bro? Bro.
A dumb MFer.
I wrote...
Like, he's sitting there trying to get clicks, and as much as I'd like to not talk about what a dumb crap this dude is, he went to the next level of, like, I can't ignore the fact that he's a dumb douchebag.
Who thought it was a great idea to put the title on David Arquette.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But Vince Russo, dude, like, I know that the award is the Shawno shitbag of the year, and we kind of thought about possibly turning it into the Vince McMahon shitbag of the year, but Vince Russo is starting to make a play for all this.
Ooh. If we make Vince Russo the Vince Russo shitbag of the year, I may or may not be able to convince Jim Cornette to accept the award on somebody's behalf or present the award on somebody's behalf. I might pitch it to him. I'm going to play the song for him, too.
And maybe we could get Corny to accept a Hall of Fame induction from our podcast.
I'd love to put a Cornette in.
As opposed to the WWE Hall of Fame.
Right. Now for my brainless.
Yeah.
Something that was going to be my bad, but then I had to add on to it. And I know that I was supposed to retire certain things from being bad and brainless, but at the end of the day, nothing will ever get retired from this. As WWE fans, after ending a 3-week run for AEW and their fans, WWE fans get my brainless for this week. And I'll tell you why. It was Zelina Vega was at the airport yesterday, and she was at her layover. So the fact that somebody actually found her in her layover is kind of really cringe. But it's not even that. It's the fact that a bunch of people who are older people came up to her and bombarded her while she was waiting for her flight, asked for autographs. They wanted her to sign all this different shit, and she said she wasn't going to sign all of it. They got pissed off and yanked the pin away from her and stormed away. And she posted about it, and she said that, you know, if this is how you're all going to act, I'm not going to be signing autographs for anybody. She goes, this is ridiculous. I was in a layover waiting for a flight, and that's even worse, the fact that you found me in a layover, of all places. And then disrespecting me that way would have been enough to get my bad for this week. But one fan in particular definitely put it over into the brainless. After he had the audacity to tell me to my face that Braun Breaker, or not really to my face, but to my internet face, that Braun Breaker was the only person in NXT, and everybody else down in NXT is a dud.
They don't believe Carmelo Hayes is a dud.
They don't believe Grayson Waller's a dud. They're booking Grayson Waller against HBK. And the guy goes, yeah, he goes, Braun Breaker is light years above everybody else. He should be on the main roster while the rest of these guys just suck down in NXT. I just blocked him. I said, this is not even wasting my time. But this is stupid. So that's why I got my brainless for this week. So if you like what you've seen, whether you are a first-time watcher or a continuous fan, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS, the F and marks. If you'd like to subscribe to us, we will do the same back. That has always been our
mantra. And make sure you like our page and set up notifications so that when we go live, you will know that we are live, so you could join in the conversation to talk about the sport that we all love to hate, professional wrestling. And make sure you like us on Spotify and give us a listen there. You know, like as far as that goes, I've been trying to post, you know, the bits of the episodes where it's not the whole episode, but, you know, it might be a tirade or it might be something that we talk about. And that way you could get little bite-sized chunks. But if you want to get, you know, the replay of the whole episode, we got the YouTube page and all that sorts of fun stuff. So make sure you like and follow and subscribe and all that jazz. And as the Brainless One said, we will like, follow, and subscribe back.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shano is always the shitbag of the year. You know what? I think it's very possible. You know, it was actually the Shano shitbag of the year before we made it just a regular shitbag of the year. Maybe we should, you know, kind of honor the man behind the name and an inaugural F and Marks Hall of Famer by putting him back as the Shano shitbag of the year award.
I mean, if that's the case, not that it needs to be like Roman Reigns with the wettest hair thing. I think Tommaso Ciampa needs to be on the list. Even if he didn't like actually earn the award for that year, but just as an honorary, you know, like when people get honorary degrees.
Yeah.
I think Ciampa needs to get like the honorary Shano shitbag of the year because Shano allegedly stole his heat and allegedly threatened F and Marks Hall of Famer Shano.
Oh, is this allegedly I had 32 people in Norfolk threaten to beat the shit out of me, so their promoter should get shitbag of the year too?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Uncle Phil.
Man, Jay, I remember the look he gave me when he came out. He looked right at me. Whew. But
I wonder if he for Vanguard Championship Wrestling. We should go to one of those shows and see what happens.
Oh God, yes, I'm on board. Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's everything that we need to discuss.
Yeah. I think we got everything. We got the Elimination Chamber in. We have properly celebrated our This is Sparta 300th episode.
I know that we've been giving a lot of love to Roman Reigns today on him hitting 900 days.
Wait.
As the champion, the Universal Champion. But I have a number out there that is more impressive than Roman Reigns' right now championship reign.
And wettest hair reign.
Yes, the only thing that has lasted longer than the wettest hair reign, other than this podcast itself.
Yeah.
But that's because today, February 17th of 2023, at an incredible 2,945 days, FMR's Hall of Famer is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble. Spoiler alert, the day I rip this picture in half is going to be, you're going to see me all cry. You're all going to see me cry in the podcast if I rip this thing on the podcast. Not like I can't print out another one or anything, but it's Curtis Axel.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
So, for episode 300 of the FMR's podcast,
I'm Jay, and he is.
And I am the Brainless One. Make sure you mark out
with your guac out. See everybody. Enjoy Elimination Chamber, and we will discuss next weekend on episode 301.
Yeah?
Yeah!
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
We will see you all next week. Have a good one.
Yep. Yeah?
Yeah!
Later, Jay.
See you, Brainless One.
Yeah?
Yeah!